Hello and welcome to the video for NS4. Alright, so now we're going to do fractions. This is scary for a lot of people, but it doesn't need to be. I'm here to walk you through it in the video, and then once it's done, you still got me in person. So let's go ahead and start working through it. Couple definitions you need to be aware of is denominators and numerators. We're going to be using these terms, and they're important for organizational purposes because a lot of math has to do with being really organized. When we draw a fraction, draw a line right there, we have our numerator on top and our denominator on top, on the bottom. Sorry, denominator on the bottom. And when you're adding and subtracting, the goal is to make sure that the denominator is the same. Okay? Now in this case, they're already the same. So when they're the same, in your answer box, go ahead and draw a fraction line and put the denominator in the bottom, because you never add or subtract the denominators. You're going to have to figure out how to make them the same if they're not the same. We'll cover that in just a bit. But once you've got them to be the same, or if they already are the same, your final answer, you're going to start with just having that number down there. The only thing you're going to add or subtract is the top numbers. So in this case, 7 plus 2 equals 9. You have to ask yourself, do they simplify? If that means, do they have a greatest common factor? In this case, they don't, so that's your final answer. Okay, so now it is going to get a bit more trickier, I'm sorry to say. Alright, so now we're going to rewrite our problem with just the fraction lines and the symbol, okay? And then we're going to have an equal sign, and then our answer is going to go over here. So, starting with the denominators, alright, we've got a 4 and a 3. Okay, we can't leave them as a 4 and a 3. They have to be the same. So what you're going to do is, when you have the numbers at the bottom different, the denominators, we multiply them. So 4 times 3 is 12. Write a new fraction. Keep the symbol there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so for number 2, the denominators are different, so now we're going to have to go to work. Most of your questions, the denominators are not going to be the same. So what do? First, we're going to rewrite our problem, and this is going to help us keep it organized. So 3 over 4 plus 2 over 3. Bottoms are not the same. Denominators are not the same. So we're going to rewrite a problem down here, but without any numbers. So when the denominators are different, then what we're going to do is we're going to multiply. Okay? Them into each other. 3 times 4 equals 12. So that means when we multiply the denominators, our new denominator becomes that product. Product meaning the answer to a multiplication problem. Alright, so now what we now have to do is think about over here. 3, what did we multiply 3 into? 4, right? So let's go ahead and put a 4 here. I want you to do this on your paper. Then the 4 over here, we have to multiply it by 3. Okay, I want you to write that on your problem. So 3 times 4 equals 12, and 3 times 4 equals 12. So the reason why we have these parentheses here is because whatever you do to the bottoms, the denominators, you have to do to the numerators. So the denominator here, we multiplied that 3 by 4 to get 12. So we have to do the same thing to the numerator. We multiplied the 3 by 4, so we have to multiply the 2 by 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And then over here, we did 4 times 3, so we have to move that parentheses up. We're not really moving it, actually copying it, because we're not moving anything. We're copying 3 times 3, parentheses, is 9. Okay, and what did I say earlier? When you have a fraction and your denominators are the same, go ahead and keep that denominator right where it's at, and then add or subtract going across the top. So 8 plus 9 equals 17, and that is your final answer. Okay, let's get another problem. Alright, this one will be short and sweet because the denominators are the same. When the denominators are the same, we don't have to do as much work. So when the denominators are the same, we know our answer we're going to have a 10 on the bottom because there's a 10 on the bottom of the denominators already and they match. So that means we don't have to change the tops other than just subtract them. Just adding and subtracting with fractions, the rules don't change. Just all that matters is in the last step, do you add the numerators, the top numbers, or do you subtract them? So 9 minus 1 equals 8. Now, in number 2, I kind of went fast and didn't talk about simplifying because there really wasn't much to simplify. But here there is. Okay, greatest common factor. The greatest common factor of 8 and 10 is 4. That is the biggest number that, oh, excuse me, 2, not 4, 2. The greatest common factor of 8 and 10 is 2. So that is the biggest number that both of them can be divided by. Okay, not into, not like 16 or 40 or something like that. It has to be it'll be a smaller number, and they both can be divided by it. So that means 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now, they have to be divided by the same number. You can't just pick a number to divide this one and pick a number to divide this one. It has to be identical. They both have to be the same number you divide by, or you divide by nothing. Just like we did in the first two, because there wasn't a common factor there. But now there is, so you have to divide by it for your final answer of 4 over 5. Because these two don't have a greatest common factor, other than 1. But if you divide them by 1, nothing changes, so we don't bother. Okay, subtracting again, and the denominators are not the same. So we got our 8 over 9 minus 1 over 7. Let's go ahead and write our new fractions because that's what you're always going to have to do with our new answer box over here. And put a fraction there. Alright, so we've got 9 and 7. We're going to multiply them. That's what you're going to do, alright? Because they're not the same, so you always multiply them. So 9 times 7 equals 63. Now again, in parentheses, we did 7 times 9, right? And over here, we did 9 times 7, right? So go ahead and copy those up. Copy it up. Because whenever you change the denominator, you're going to have to change the numerator. Oops. So 9 times 1 is 9, nice and easy. 7 times 8 is 56. And then 63 on the bottom, so we're going to keep that there. And then 56 minus 9 is going to equal 47. And that's your answer. You can check it for yourself, but they do not have a greatest common factor. Alright, multiplying. Multiplying is not so bad. Definitely I feel like it's a lot easier than with the division. So let's go, or the fractions when you're adding and subtracting, excuse me, not division. We haven't gotten to that yet. Division actually will be quite easy as well. So this is better than adding and subtracting the fractions. So we're going to rewrite our problem. 2 over 5 times 3 over 4. And what you're going to go ahead and do is just multiply the tops. And multiply the bottom. Multiply the numerator and the denominator. So 3 times 2 equals 6. 5 times 4 equals 20. Then you got to look for a greatest common denominator. Or sorry, greatest common factor. Greatest common factor of 6 and 20, the biggest one you're going to find is 2. So that's what we're going to divide them both by. Greatest common factor of 2. That will, 6 divided by 2 equals 3. 20 divided by 2 equals 10. And that is our final answer. Okay, now divide. If you got the multiplication process that we just went over, it's going to work the same with just one small little trick. First thing you're going to do is rewrite just the first part, the left side, and don't change it. Do not change it. Leave it exactly like it is. Then, let's see that little division there. The division is going to become multiply. Oh yeah. And then the second problem, or the second number, this one right here, that one is going to flip to become 14 over 15. You see what I did there? The denominator became the numerator became the denominator. And then do exactly the same thing I did on number 5. No different now. And you don't have to convert it back and redivide. No. Flip the second number, multiply, done. All right, let's test it out. So 5 times 14 is 70, and 7 times 15 is 105. Big number. We are going to need to break that down. So I'm not entirely sure what the greatest common factor is, but I know that they're both divisible by 5. So let's go ahead and divide them by 5. And we will get, when we do that, 14 over 21. 7 divided by 5 is 14. 105 divided by 5 is 21. But hold on. We need to check. Did we really reduce it, simplify it as much as possible? Well, no. 14 and 21 do have a greatest common factor in 7. So we need to divide them by 7. Leading us to our final answer of 14 divided by 7 is 2. 21 divided by 7 is 3. So 2 over 3 is our final answer. All right, if you have any questions, let me know in class.